Hello! Hi, how are you? How is everybody? Hi, Warlord Pete. Hi, Ember. Hope you're both well. It's good to be back. Apologies that I've not been around the past couple of days. Apart from being very, very busy, I did also end up with a pretty nasty migraine yesterday, thanks to the heat. Mostly the heat and the humidity, so yay. Like you can tell I'm British because I'm absolutely desperately hoping for some rain because my god do we need it. But besides which, we're back. We're here to do some painting. It's not technically Whip Wednesday, but we will be doing a dive through the Discord anyway, just to see what everyone's been getting up to. So if you want to post your stuff on there, absolutely go for it. But otherwise, yeah, we're just going to get straight on into it because I don't really have much else to mention. So we're just going to crack on. And by that, we do have a bit of dry brushing to do, hence why I've got the all texture palette set up. Because we're going to be working on some Alpha Legion, which I'm pretty bloody excited about because I fucking love Alpha Legion and I've been wanting to paint some for quite some time now. And especially ever since we found the Scylla Legion stuff on Dakadaka.store. And they're absolutely outstanding Alpha Legion proxies. I've very much wanted to paint some up. So I do have a load of them already printed. Some of them in various stages of needing to be built. If you might have seen on my Instagram about a month or so ago, I did post up a kit bash. I say kit bash. Kind of more of a conversion, although I say that. Effectively, I took some of these Scylla Legion bits and cobbled them together into my own version of the Exodus, which is a very special named Alpha Legion character, who I would absolutely sincerely hope actually makes it into 40k one day. Like, there's no realistic reason why he doesn't exist in 40k. He just kind of vanished after the Horus Heresy finished. And there's no real explanation to it. And considering no one knows who or what he is, or even if it's one person or many people, like, there's nothing to say they can't come back. It's just for whatever reason there are no sniper units and Chaos Space Marines. Don't quite understand that one, but hey, that's a mini for another time. But what we do have, absolutely, is a captain in Terminator armor, or it's a Chaos Lord in Terminator armor, or it's both, or it's neither. One thing we definitely can say for certain is it is absolutely 100% Alfarius. Anyway, with that in mind, we're going to be doing some dry brushing, and we're going to start off with some chainmail silver, because we want to bring that up to the brightest silver that we can. So, no zenithal priming, no zenithal highlighting or anything like that, because the metallics are going to be doing a lot of the heavy lifting with this. Which is kind of the point. I just need a decent sized dry brush. And we'll work all of this in. until we get a nice consistency. And then we can just work that all over the model to start with. We'll go across all of the model. The only areas we'll really miss out are the cape and the mace there, because we don't really need to do either of those. At least not right now. We're mostly focusing on the power armor here. In other news, though, if people who watched Miniature Frontier and K.Legs' 24-hour charity stream they did at the beginning of the month may have found out through that I won the Vanguard Tactics Academy slot that they were offering up as a giveaway prize. Well, I've finally got my admissions emails through, and I've made a start on all that, and it's really, really exciting stuff. So very, very stoked to actually get stuck into improving my Warhammer skills and actually learning a bit more about the intricacies of what makes 10th edition tick. Right, we're already off to a great start with that. Got that nice and shiny. So what we'll do is we'll move down to a slightly smaller dry brush so we can just work a little bit more focused. And we'll move up to our brightest silver. Which is, quite appropriately, just named silver. Well, that was so good. Oh my god. Wow, okay. Be right back. Oh wow, I had a proper Miss Dyspraxia moment there. Literally just yeeting, yeah, quite literally just yeeting a bottle of paint all the way across behind one of my paint racks. Oh, God. I swear. I'm an absolute disaster sometimes. Can't help but laugh. Because if I didn't, I'd cry. Right. There we go. We'll try and keep this focused just around the sort of like top areas of the armor, so we can still get a bit of depth into that armor. Bit of depth of color from the ink that we're, well, I say ink, from the contrast paint that we're going to apply over the top. Now this is not a new way of doing Alpha Legion. This is a pretty classic way of doing it. It's just something I wanted to try out for myself. Again, not really caring if we get any out on the cloak, because we're going to be repainting that later anyway. What colour I haven't quite decided yet. I've got a few options. But for now, we're just going to focus on all of that power armor. Hi Nash, hope you're well. Right, we're done with that, so we can move that away. And we'll bring our little Wells.
We're here for the cult stuff.
Oh, thank you for the resub. Oh, that's greatly appreciated. 37 months. Mwahaha part 2. The revenge of the Mwahahas. So we need some Achillean green. And a bit of contrast medium action. I'm going to thin this down a little bit. And hopefully not yeet the paint bottle halfway across the room. Oh, I'm glad to hear that, Nash. That's wonderful to hear. We kind of want an... I'll start with an 80-20 ratio of medium to contrast paint. One more shift at the grocery store and then a full week off. Oh, brilliant. Do you start your new job yet? Next week, Saturday, I'm going to run a one-shot. Ooh. Ooh, that's exciting. That's very exciting. Started in July. Alright, so you're still working at the same store, just in a different role now. That's awesome. Oh. There we go. Knock the cable on my lights a little bit. Nope, 3 days, grocery store, 2 days, notary office. Ah, right. Oh, well, that's fantastic. How are you finding it so far? Is it everything you hoped it would be? So yeah, I'm actually thinking I could probably get away with thinning that down a little bit more, but we'll try it and we'll see how we go. And for a model with this much intricate detail, we'll stick with this smaller brush for now. Really enjoying it. Sometimes it's so slow. Some weeks like this week, it's just the amount of work. Fair enough. I hope that gets better for you soon. Just careful you don't burn yourself up by doing too much. Like, I know, especially in this current economy, like, it's perfectly normal and in some cases necessary for people to be working multiple jobs. Heck, there's a possibility I might be doing something similar just to try and make sure like bills and such are paid for, but at the same time, it's not exactly the healthiest thing in the world. Heck, this job has been relaxing for me, to be honest. It's kind of pulled me out the burnout. Oh, that's good. That's good then. Really glad to hear that. No, I've dealt with burnout too many times myself, especially in recent years. So I can completely sympathise with just how horrific it is. Great danger is threatening all of Shader. Will you and your party stand up to defeat Ilan Sirith, the High Chance of Escan? Description of the one shot for 3 level 12 characters. Ooh. Or a friend of mine, my brother, and a friend of my brother. Oh, right, okay. So you're going for a bit of a high level one shot then. Well, that's interesting. Any reason you've chosen to start them all off at level 12? Have you ever actually DM'd before? Friend is a forever DM, and the other two just started playing in the summer and are still low level, and I kind of want to throw a dragon at them. I mean, there's nothing stopping you throwing a dragon at a bunch of low level players. Just make sure that you have a way for them to deal with the situation without immediately getting themselves killed. Okay. That's definitely a bold idea then, if you've never DM'd before, to start with a one-shot where everyone's at level 12. That can sometimes be a bit overwhelming, especially considering, like, level 12 is not something to sniff at. That's when your player characters are arguably at their most powerful. But if you can make that work, more power to you. Like us, personally, I was debating between 8 and 12, but we were advised at seeing how I'll be able to plan things out. Okay, okay. Okay, surrounded by an opening in the forest. From the sky, you are hit with a faint light coming from the moon. This first bit will get some revision to it. Idea is that within the sinkholes, a lot of flora and fauna kind of adds a weird calming vibe to the tower. Surrounding this massive sinkhole, as on the usual, surrounding you is a herd of deer. Do not seem to be bothered by your presence. Okay. Got some great descriptive elements there. Even though it's a one-shot, you're still going to need to be careful to avoid scripting too much of it. Because there will come a point where your players will do something that you will have absolutely no expectation, that you won't expect in the slightest, and that you won't have prepared for. And as a first timer, that can be naturally overwhelming. So it can be very easy to just kind of get stuck into a situation of kind of over planning, which then leaves you a little bit knackered if they improv something completely wild and out there, which they're gonna do. Like, left to their own devices, players just be like that. It's part of the fantasticness of the game. Very well, hence why I'm putting... Oh, one set of town in here, which might seem a bit random, but hey, before you stands a tower made of carved stone, giant buttresses along the walls, windows made of tinted glass. On the flagpoles you see the god main colour with a gold trim. Under the flag there's a symbol of insets, something history banners. Message of the High Chancellor, Arcana, you're in a different plane of existence, really good roll. May have to come up with one. Right, okay. Hence why I'm putting them in a different plane of existence when they leave the cave. Okay. Interesting. I guess I'd be interested to see how it all turns out for you. Just be careful of throwing yourself too far into the deep end. Especially without leaving yourself too much room to maneuver if things don't necessarily go the way you expect them to. There we are. A couple of very thin layers of this stuff. And it really bumps up the brightness and vibrancy of that armor color there. And I probably could have used the Achillean green straight out of the bottle, but I wanted that little extra room to maneuver just to sort of make it as bright or as intense as I wanted it to be. And while still being able to apply it nice and smooth. Of course, we can go back in and brighten up a lot of that silver later. So have you got any ideas as to which plane of existence they're going to end up on when they leave the cave? Has everyone apologized because the first part of the stream was on a call? No, it's all good. And pretty good, to put it honestly. Just enjoying the process at the moment. Got feeling better after your migraine? Yes, actually, much better. I just ended up sleeping through most of the evening, and I think that's massively helped.
It's not a cult.
Whoa.
It's an organized religion. We're very powerful, and
Whoa. Thank you for all the gift subs there, Warlord Pete. That's totally unexpected.
Is it a real cult?
Well,
Oh, thank you so much. Oh, wow. That was amazing. Thank you so much. I mean, it is September, I guess, so yeah. Feels appropriate. Aw, it's much appreciated. Thank you so much. We've picked Arvindar as the plane of existence. Arvindar? Is that something new that got added? Because I used to run a Planescape campaign, and that's not one of the ones I'm familiar with. Unless it's one of the other ones that just got renamed. Ah, right, it's one of the outer planes. For one of the first layers of one of the outer planes. First layer of Arborea. Ah, right, yeah, that makes more sense now. Not one of the 9 main ones, a subplane of another one. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I don't think I ever actually ran any adventures in Arborea when I was running Planescape. That might be why I'm not super familiar with it. It's been a very long time. Yeah, that's a campaign that got put on pause because of COVID and just hasn't ever been picked back up again. So it is something I'm tempted to to maybe resurrect one day with some new players. I don't know. Haven't really decided what to do about it yet. For reasons I'm not going to get into, I'll just say that I probably won't ever be able to bring it back with the original group that I ran it for. Which is a bit of a shame because it was fantastic. But hey ho. Just means it's a possibility. Can maybe do it some other way. Might do it online for a bunch of people. Do it through Roll20 maybe. Something incredibly satisfying about this. Just flowing all that contrast paint into those recessed areas in between all that raised detail. Just seeing how it almost immediately transforms it into classic Alpha Legion. But yes, fingers crossed. Actually, gonna be running D&D myself next week. This time next week. which I'm rather looking forward to. Feels like it's been forever since they finished the last adventure that I sent them on. Maybe asking you for some advice as you are a weathered DM. Oh, absolutely, go for it. I'm always happy to offer advice. Weathered is probably the right word for it as well. I've certainly ran a few campaigns where players' decisions have kind of aged me 40 years on the spot. Want to try and run 5 encounters, 3 combat, 1 social, all combat if they really mess up on 1 puzzle, and then a big BBEG fight. Okay. That's a fairly good number for a one-shot, though I would probably ask how long have you got in your one-shot? Oh, BBEG being one of the combat encounters. Okay, yeah, that seems a bit more reasonable then. Because otherwise for a one-shot you've kind of got like quite a lot on your hands there. But then again, a lot of one-shots can very easily turn into like 2 or 3 shots depending on how much the players just kind of dither about. I will say this, I haven't really ran too many one-shots specifically. I tend to run more long ongoing campaigns than anything else, but at the end of the day, a one-shot is just an adventure, and I've written plenty of adventures. think I've seen plenty of campaigns that have sprang up out of one-shots. Just partly why I found the idea of it, you're running it at like 12th level for them to be a little bit kind of odd, because you don't quite so much immediately lock yourself out of that as an option, but you do significantly reduce the chances of it. But at the same time, if you plan on them going to another plane of existence, or even heck starting in another plane of existence outside of like your typical, one of your typical pre-built or homebrewed settings, then yeah, makes sense in a way. Like, unless you're running a campaign dedicated around it, extra planar travel is one of those things that is sort of recommended at higher levels only. Though it does depend on the plane of existence. Some are a little bit more user-friendly than others, to say the least. So, 3 level 8 party members, 1 big strong BBEG combined with a dragon on top of the tower. Okay. What flavour of dragon have you gone for? That's gonna be a big thing to keep into consideration. Social encounter will be the running joke from the last one shot, where we converted 2 troll/giants to kill the BBEG with us by making them think they were playing a game with him. Okay. Interesting. That's a bit of a risky one to run as a social encounter. Yeah, you've kind of given yourself the room there for it to turn into a combat encounter if it goes badly, but at the same time, an encounter like that feels like that could become a social encounter only if the players expect it to be. Otherwise, you could just end up in a situation where they just immediately charge in and try and kill them because, arg, big scary trolls working for the BBEG, kill on sight. I think either a standard green or blue. Okay, by standard, do you mean... By standard, do you mean adults, young adults? Meant adults, sorry, not ancients. Ah, okay. Okay. What or who is your BBEG? Most trial alternate solution to defeat the BBEG. You want to place a giant magical orb within the encounter that could be destroyed to stop the ritual. Yes, do that. Straight away do that. I generally speaking tend to go into every encounter with the idea in mind that there needs to be an alternate way to solve that encounter. Because, yeah, it's going to come to a point like some cases it's going to be unavoidable. Combat is going to be unavoidable. There isn't really much the party can do other than try and solve it by combat. But especially when it comes to like big epic encounters like that, they do kind of run the risk of becoming an absolute slugfest. And it just becomes more of a battle of attrition after a while. Which, if you put too many of those kinds of encounters in, or if you put that kind of encounter in with the wrong kind of party, it just becomes unpleasant for everybody. So making it so that there's an alternate way to deal with the problem is always preferable. And also make it in such a way that it's not so obtuse how they're supposed to achieve it. That can also be one of the ways stuff like that can very quickly backfire. Like, I think I mentioned it a few times before, like when I've talked about stuff in this like this in the past. Chekhov's gun is always in every drawer. If there is like a solution to a puzzle or like a very key obvious piece of information, make sure that's needed to try and solve the problem at hand, whether that be kind of like the alternate way to deal with the BBEG's problem without having to resort to just beating them to death. Make sure that your players can get that information one way or another. By all means though, don't just story dump on them. But make sure it's in such a way that the players themselves can't just easily miss it by overlooking it. Because that's how you kind of write yourself into a corner if you're not careful. BBG is likely a sorcerer, then Sirith High Chancellor of a scan or Betrayer of a scan. Might also be a wizard. Next time I'm either placing a dragon or a fighter paladin combo that could protect him. Interesting idea for you. Why not make that one and the same? Because there's a lot of dragons that have the ability to take on a human form. I think green dragons are one of the more common ones that are able to do that. Like, there is nothing... in fact, blue dragons do as well, thinking about it. There is nothing saying that he can't have some kind of well-armed, incredibly tough as nails in combat, fighty kind of general who just so happens to turn out to actually be a dragon in disguise. bear in mind, and dragons are usually fiercely intelligent creatures as well. So, like, that can very easily be like a sign of this person's betrayal, that he's working with an evil dragon trying to further each other's fiendish interests. Giant orb will likely have a certain element which will only tell if they do a perception high enough. For example, ice will be destroyed by a fire spell, for example. Yeah, that makes sense. Simply using dispel magic on the ritual, forcing the sorcerer to reinstigate it, which might buy them time. That's a good idea, but that then comes with the issue that you're either relying on the party having some form of dispel magic on them. So if they don't have a character that can have that spell or that has chosen to take that spell, then make sure that there's something nearby that they can use that will dispel the magic. Whether it be like a rod of dispel magic or a spell scroll or something like that. Just, again, make sure it's not something that they can very easily overlook. Maybe even throw in some kind of flavor that kind of, in no uncertain terms, points to this is going to be important later. Don't just get rid of this. Also, this kind of feeds into another thing as well that's very much worth remembering is your players' intelligence or players' knowledge and their characters' intelligence and knowledge aren't always one and the same. Don't be scared to allow your players to make some kind of intelligence check to remember something that's important that they may have forgotten. Don't be one of those DMs that sort of assumes that their players are super intelligent or great at remembering every tiny little detail, or are quite so easily able to connect the dots on something. I've been around DMs like that in the past, and it can be incredibly frustrating. And if anything, it just tends to slow the game down to a crawler, if not actually kill it stone dead. Less of an issue during a one-shot, but can still be an issue, so it is always something worth keeping in mind, at the very least. Again, the Curse Rocket gives them lore that they already know, aka Stone of Recall. I mean, that's fun as a joke. That's definitely a fun little item as kind of like a joke. I'm loving how this is turning out. It's so rich and vibrant, those blues. I don't know why it doesn't really like show up as well on the camera, just how turquoise this is. It looks more blue on camera for some reason. But yeah, it's a bit of a fine line to try and cross. That line of like making sure you don't insult your player's intelligence, but at the same time, don't just assume that they're going to have remembered or paid attention to every tiny little thing. I've gone to make the BBEG monologue way too long. Yeah, and be prepared that your players may just end up killing him stone dead within seconds. Another one of those. Yeah, it's one of those. Another one of those sort of like balancing acts you have to kind of make. Yeah, you kind of have to figure out, and there's no real like shortcut to it. You just kind of have to learn it by doing it for the most part. But it's definitely a mistake I've made in the past, where I've kind of gone, oh, this would be a great like single solo encounter, and then didn't take into account like the enemy's gonna need the BBG is gonna need minions. It's gonna need mooks because one big, really strong guy can very easily just fall apart in like a couple of turns of combat if you don't plan it well enough. May start with the BBEG fight. Ooh, okay, spicy. I mean, if you want it to be like immediately obvious that this is the bad guy, this is the guy you need to take down, then the campaign I played in, we disarmed the three sister hags. Oh, nice. Well done. But yeah, if you want it to be like immediately obvious from the outset that this is your bad guy, go kill him, go defeat him, go on this adventure to try and stop him from doing the thing, then yeah, starting with the fight's certainly a fairly good idea. It just means that you'll need to make sure that the BBEG has a way of escaping or surviving the fight, because again, if you aren't careful, it could be a case of your party takes them out straight away. Oh, start writing the BBEG fight. Okay, yeah, that's definitely not a bad idea. Definitely you'll want to find a way to introduce the BBEG early on, even if it's just in a very small, reduced capacity, just to at least get your players to like understand what the stakes are and why they should care about having to kill this guy or stop him from doing the thing. Even if it's just they've heard of him by reputation. Even if they don't actually interact with him. But they definitely need some way to appreciate why he's the villain and why he must be stopped. I want to start them with BBG at the spot where they get their mission, maybe just blatantly use whole person, kill the king giving the mission. Interesting. Again, so long as you make sure that it's either done at a distance, or that the players have, or that he has some way of like escaping and surviving, so he can go on to be a menace another day. Or otherwise, you're just going to have a situation where your players kill him on the spot, and then you kind of have to start to think of a backup plan. Again, you kind of have to be careful not to back yourself into a corner. It's surprisingly easy to do. Also, possibly the most important advice you'll ever hear is, it's your first time. You're probably gonna make mistakes. Don't beat yourself up about it. Just roll with it and move on. If you do so with confidence, so that your players just assume or believe it's just part of the story or part of the plan, and so long as they're having a good time, they're not going to care. Whether or not they notice is another thing, but certainly not something you should worry too much about. Like, again, just as long as your players are having a good time, they'll likely not either realize or not care that something's gone wrong or hasn't gone according to plan. Can always make it a mirror image, yeah, or clones or simulacrums. These are all things. Proxy, somebody working on the BBEG's behalf. These are all absolutely options and ideas. I'm gonna make some backup ideas, so I guess I need to try and get him somewhat back on track. Oh yeah, definitely. Like, more often than not, I'd often give the advice of try not to railroad wherever possible, but at the same time, when you're running a one-shot, you kind of have to accept that it's gonna happen. I'd say just so long as you don't make it too obvious, then it becomes less of an issue. But of course, so long as your players are aware that it's a one-shot and are happy to accept that as fact, then it's not so much of an issue. Because at the end of the day, every game and every campaign requires at least some amount of player buy-in. And if your players refuse to buy into it, even just like on a superficial surface level, then what are they even doing there? much as I'm enjoying doing this, I am so very glad that not all of my other Alpha Legion proxies have this much level of detail on them, because this is a little ridiculous. But yeah, depending on how long it takes to get a good chunk of the way through this, we might still go ahead and finish off the Emperor's Children that I've got to do. Because there really isn't much left to do on them. I think it's just a bit of highlighting and a little bit of detailing on them. we go. Yeah, definitely getting somewhere with this. There's certainly a slightly obnoxious amount of trim here. But it's somehow not so bad. Mostly because it's just a case of filling in all the spaces in between. I think the fact that I'm using a contrast paint for that is definitely helping. But yeah, absolutely loving how this is turning out. Right, that just leaves the helmet to do. which is pretty well timed because I'm starting to run low on the Achillean green in my palette there. Almost there. Again, pretty good time because I'm very much starting to get to the bottom of what's in that little part of the palette there. Oh, is everything okay there, Ember? Just finished my first Terminator. Did something go wrong? Knocked his shoulder lamp off. Ah, right. I'm sorry to hear that. I know that feeling. I've done that plenty myself. It's disappeared. Oh, dear. I hope you managed to find it. Right, just the helmet to finish up there. And then we can go into all this with a little bit of silver just to neaten some of these areas up. There we go. Been looking nearly 10 minutes. Oh no, I'm sorry to hear that. Yikes. Right, okay. We'll stick with the same brush. And we'll just go into some of our regular silver. Now we're going to go around all of that trim and neaten it up. There we are, just like that, just a little amount of it. Don't need to be too precise or too exact. We don't need a massive amount either. It's just to brighten up some of that silver. Oh, thank you for the hydrate, Em. I will deal with that in just a moment. Just going to finish off the trim on this gauntlet here. Hey Mike, how you doing? good to see you. It feels like it's been forever. Oh, that's great to hear. I haven't seen the last couple of weeks. For the most part, I was trying to assemble a huge chunk of resin, mostly on my lap. Doesn't lend well to streaming. Fair enough. What is it you're working on, out of curiosity? Running out of gaps for green stuff. Running out of green stuff for all the gaps. Oh, wow. Okay. This must be one chunky model you're working on. Thunderhawk. Ooh, wow. Blood Angels Thunderhawk. Ooh. Forge World, I assume? This one's a commission. Already got myself what? Got one myself. Of course I have. Yes, yes, of course you have. It would be silly to assume you didn't. Wow. Thunderhawk commission. Yikes. Look at you making a bit of a big name for yourself there, Mike. That's exciting. Exciting stuff. Post an image of it so far alongside my existing one. You want on 40k Talk channel. Didn't know which one to post it in. Probably the Model Showcase channel, to be honest with you, but no, that still works. I just have to be careful with that channel in terms of showing it off on stream, because I know somebody, I think it might have been Mr. Fish, posted up posted up a link as to where to get the Tyranids 10th edition codex through less than legitimate means. So yeah, do just need to be a bit careful with that. Excuse the format for my son's room was the only carpeted space big enough for the two. Wow. Okay, yeah, not messing around there, are you? Threw it in the Whips channel. Okay, that works. But yeah, we'll do a dive into the Discord in a moment or two once I'm done with all this trim, just as like a little treat to myself. Redgrass R9 Deathlight has arrived today as well. Oh, nice. I'm tempted to pick up some of the Redgrass Games supplies pretty soon anyway, because my wet palette needs a new sponge, because this one's definitely seen better days and needs replacing. But the problem is you can't get the refill sponges for this exact type of wet palette here in the UK. So the next best thing would probably be to go through the Redgrass Games ones instead and use their sponge, because basically the same size. I'll have to go through them, I think. I've got a voucher to use on their site at some point. Oh, nice. Can't go too wrong with that. There we go. How's everything going with me anyway? It's going really well, actually. Do need to do a lot of catching up on stuff. But for the most part, it's going really, really well. Just dropped some new stuff into our 3D print store over the past couple of days. Mainly some little lanterns for miniature purposes. And they've already become pretty popular. We currently have an offer at the moment going on. 5% off any orders over... It's either 5% or £5 off. There it is. 25% off all orders above £15. But also we do have another one as well where it's either like £5 off every order above £25 or 5% off. I'd have to double check the details of it because it's actually done through Etsy, not through us. Keep needing to stop myself from buying a 3D printer. I mean, just saying. You know people who have one. So if you don't want to buy a 3D printer, you can always ask us. And we just might furnish you with some 3D printed bits. Depending on what you want, of course. Can do cheaper if go direct to us, just DM in the Discord. Yep, exactly. We're all about trying to make 3D print stuff as accessible as possible. But yeah, got a bit of content creation I do need to catch up on, so I might take some time out of my stream schedule in the next week or two just to get that sorted out. Sooner I do that, the sooner I can put my Patreon back up live again, which would be nice. So the gates I've put on the wing gaps last night, it's just slid further down into the gap, which means they put more green stuff on. Ah, right. Sorry to hear that. I don't know if you could get away with this with Forge World resin, just because of, well, the nature of Forge World resin. But what I find is probably one of the best ways of gap filling resin is to just get some photoreactive uncured resin and inject or brush that into the gaps and then use a UV torch on it. Usually about 30 seconds to a minute, depending on how much of it, sometimes even less actually, cures it very quickly. And you end up with like a nice seamless gap. Might need to do it in a couple of layers, depending on how big the gap is, but it's certainly easier than trying to use green stuff, I find. Don't have any suggestion, unfortunately, and I'm already 3 inches of the roll deep. Yikes! Okay, wow. Having said that, I need to buy some more green stuff myself, so I can at least sympathise. Actually starting to run low for a change. There we go. Think that works really well. I didn't realise until I was at Warhammer World on Monday that GW don't actually sell green stuff anymore. Oh, do they not? I know they used to have the little pots of liquid green stuff. Is that no longer a thing? That's quite a surprise. Oh, so they have liquid green stuff, just not actual green stuff. Oh, right. To be honest, I've not seen them sell proper green stuff in a long time, so that's not quite as surprising to me, personally. Not 100% certain what I'm going to do with this mace yet, but I'm thinking probably silver's not a bad shout, at least. It's not exactly a power weapon, so... not something we need to worry too much about trying to make look fancy. Oh. There we go. Still a little bit of support left over there. Still doing those painting classes? Yes, actually. It's going really well, actually. Gotten a couple of regulars that come down from several towns away, actually, to come do it, because there's nothing else like it in the local area. Hi, Bunker, how you doing? I heard you were going for like 4 hours yesterday. Didn't know you had it in you. But yeah, it's been going really well. It's been a really lovely way to get people into painting as a hobby. And I'd say we've had a few people coming from like miles and miles away just to come do it, which has been really, really nice. Missed doing 4-hour streams. You know what we was talking about. It happened. I wish I could last 4 hours of an OAP now. Don't sell yourself so short. Oh, well. Right. I think we'll do a little bit of brassy brass for the bullet casings on the side of that combi bolter. At this rate, we might actually get most of this done in one sitting. Which is not entirely what I expected. Don't you say it when you're trying to wedge some green stuff into a gap and the stuff sticks more to your tool than the model? Yes, yes, that is an absolute bane of my existence. That's why I don't use green stuff as often as I probably should. I'll just paint up the barrel of that melter element of the combi bolter there. And the brass as well. There we go. Talked about getting bigger printers. Got an M36K. Mrs. B wants bigger conks. I need a bigger machine. Have a nice things to play with. Glad you specified print bed because oh my. 1/2-inch bunker. I bet the missus is very happy. I second what Mike said. Right, I think what we'll do is we'll get some Black Templar and we'll use that on the gun casing. Still haven't quite decided what to do about the filter. I mean, it makes life more fun that way.
We're here for the cult stuff.
Ember subbed last night. I return the love clenched fist.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Bunker. What colour are you going for on the cape? I was actually literally just about to say I still haven't decided about that yet. But yeah, thank you. Thank you for the sub there, Bunker. That's greatly appreciated. No, at the moment I'm kind of painting everything other than the cape, just to give myself a bit more time to think about that. I'm probably going to hit up the Forge World website in a moment or two just to get some inspiration. That'll make a fantastic colour. Are you going to say red? Because I'm way ahead of you on that one. I am thinking red might be the answer. I don't know, actually. I might do red for these bits hanging down. I used to know the official name of that. Like, that part of, like, Roman Greco armor, the sort of, like, leather strips. I might do those in red and the cape in white. But I haven't fully committed yet. Purples. The gold, yellow, and the gun finished last week and made me a... There needs to be red somewhere. Yeah, definitely. With the... Had to post off Dante finished last week, made me sad a little bit. Oh, but don't you have one of your own? So surely that would make up for it. There we are, keeping it nice and simple. Just a bit of black with some silver detailing on that bolt gun. Doesn't need to be anything particularly fancy. Not painted the new one for yourself yet? Oh, for some reason I thought you had. You really need to get onto that. Oh, then again, so do I. I think there's a lot of things I need to paint at some point. I read it by Mediocre Hobbies last night. Oh, nice! Didn't say anything and buggered off, not even a follow. Possibly just a raid and run. I've done it myself a few times. So yeah, I wouldn't feel so bad about that if I were you. Right. Forge World. Let's get some Alpha Legion inspiration. Okay. Seems like a lot of the Alpha Legion stuff usually has black cloth. That's a little boring. I think we can do better. Oh, there you go. You've got Armillus Dynat. He's got a bit of a mixture of black and white going on there for the cloth. This is going to be the warlord for my Alpha Legion anyway, so... Or captain if I do plan on using them in Horus Heresy, I suppose, so... Perhaps white might work? Red. You're very determined for it to be red. As I say, I might happen to agree with you on that. Having said that, Alfarius himself has white with like green detail. Definitely think I'll be doing red for like the eye lenses though, so that's gonna be a thing. Is it Alfarius really though? Of course it is, because they're all Alfarius. Everyone's Alfarius. Also, wow, this palette paper's effed. Like, seriously. I think it might be time to replace that after this paint session, I think. All Dark Angels are Alfaris. Exactly! Actually, to be fair, at least some of them are changelings of Sinch. And that is canon. Just... Oh, I forgot there's no dropper thing in there. Actually, don't I have a... I'm sure I have a spare dropper nipple somewhere. Hmm? Oh. Nipples. Thank you. Thank you. Much appreciated. Oh my god, it doesn't fit. Fuck! Oh well, never mind. Nipplets, yes. They are too small to be actual nipples. They're yeah. You'd think it would fit, but no, it's like a couple of millimeters too small. What I miss in chat there, anyway? All Dark Angels need are a pat on the head and they will rise. I mean, where's the lie in that? Anyway, there we go. Tiny, tiny drop. Spirit Stone Red. We'll use that for the eye lenses. Right, headed up for a bit, catching the flip side. No problem, Mike. Thank you for stopping by. And there you are. You're happy now? It's got a tiny bit of red on it. But yeah, I think what we'll do is we'll sort of stick with classic Alpha Legion, black on the inside, white on the outside. And yeah, I think I might do these in just like a sort of dark red kind of color, maybe. I think we'll start with kind of like a khaki color. Ooh, although that could be an idea. No, we'll stick with khaki. I've got ideas. Although, let's try some dead flesh instead. Yeah, I've got an idea. I'm gonna try a thing. Let's move up to a bigger brush, I think. I think we'll need to thin that down quite a bit more. I think that's way too thick. Yeah, that's a bit better. I'm going to try and keep some element of green in like even the paler areas. Just to help sort of like tie all these different colors together. So I'm thinking even with the black on the inside, doing that in a slightly different color to start with. Or maybe even working up to that color. Yeah, so I'm going to get some dark sea blue, and we'll do that for the inside of the cloak. Right, I'm going to have to be pretty careful as I get closer towards the back there. Carefully does it. And we'll also use this same paint for like the insides of the void suit as well. Just for the gaps between the armor panels. Oh, thank you for the hydrate. I don't actually have anything to do it with. I finished off my energy drink, so I'm kind of, yeah. Don't really have anything left at the moment. I probably should go do something about that, but I'm also kind of enjoying the progress I'm making at the moment and don't really want to stop. There we go. What we'll do is we'll go ahead and give the reverse the cloak a quick second coat of the dead flesh. And just to try and get the coverage on that a little bit better than it is at the moment. It's not going to matter super much when we start layering it, but for now, it does make a bit of a difference. What we'll do as well is we'll start working on those leather bits in the front. What we'll do is we'll sort of err towards kind of more like a red leather look with those. So we'll start with some terracotta. And then just carefully we'll hit the reverse of them as well. Right, I feel like we might have hit a fairly natural-ish stopping point. Only because there's quite a bit that needs to dry. Although having said that, we do have the khaki out, so what I might do is I might use that for the base. Because I think what we'll aim for with the base is something kind of akin to like the white buildings and white sand of like the Greek islands. Considering this take on Alpha Legion is very heavily inspired by ancient Greece. And to a lesser extent, even some of like the OG Alpha Legion, like design, iconography and everything is very heavily reminiscent of like ancient Greece. Oh, thank you for the stretch. I shall deal with that in just a moment. Oh, thank you for that. That is greatly appreciated. Thank you. I'd say we're definitely getting there. Here back grabbing Num Num. Ooh. Good idea. I really should do the same, to be honest with you. And I'm back from playing too much Mordhau. Yes, I've noticed. I've noticed you seem to be playing that quite a bit. I have the game myself, actually. I should really give it a try. Beans on toast with triple garlic butter. Ooh. Enjoy. I'll teach you some stuff if you like. Oh yeah, definitely. Of course, have my fun with a training sword. Yeah, we can certainly look into that at some point. Just a case of finding the time for it, a bit like with all of the other dozens of games that I own. Need to work at 4 AM, going to bed. No problem. Thank you for stopping by, and thank you for the resub. I shall probably see you on the weekend, more than likely. Look at you going to bed at sensible times and everything. Been looking for hours, but may as well hit the commands. Messaging in Discord if I need to run some ideas by you. Yeah, no problem. Hi, Cryo. Hope you're well. It's good to see you around. Can I say I became responsible? Sorta, kinda, definitely not. So what you're saying is you didn't, in the slightest. Okay. Good to know. At least you're honest, I suppose. Oh. Wrong colour. Whoops. Actually, that kind of works. Use that for the buildings, because they're going to be a lighter colour anyway. Okay, looks like it's going to be an ad break starting in the next 10 minutes or so. That seems like a perfectly good time for me to stop. That way I'm not going to inflict that on any of yous. And I consider it like that. Which just means we can probably come back to this at a later time. It's certainly been a fun little distraction away from any of the other bits that I really need to get on with at some point. Right. Yeah, I think we'll stop there. We'll do a quick little dive into the Discord. And then we'll see who we can raid. Do I know Hut Armories? Yeah, they've been posting my Discord a few times and have hopped in and out of my stream a few times and chatted with me, and I raided them Monday, I think it was. Right, let's have a look, see. Ooh. Nailed him with this handsome retro fella, trying to figure out what colour to paint his base, thinking yellow leaning sand, down to put some warms into contrast, cool blues and purple tones. As I mentioned, that's definitely a great shout. Like, those warm yellow tones would really tie in very nicely with like the reds and the blues in there. And honestly, that looks absolutely phenomenal. That looks a miles and away better than the one I did. Oh god, I can smell the garlic. Oh, it's a shame I can't eat garlic. Size comparison between the old and new version of the Thunderhawk is pretty spot on. Ooh. Wow. I'm guessing that's the one Mike was working on because you can see all the green stuff on it. And that's the one he currently owns. Which is, yeah, that's pretty great. Also, knowing how big those playmats are, yeah, that's a big bloody thing. Ooh, what's this you've been working on, Bunker? Ha! Headless Horseman! I love it! Oh my god, I want that. Where did you find that from? I might just have to print one of those off for Halloween. I love that so much. It's your first paid job. Oh, that's seriously cool. Well done. Look at that little nurgling. Oh, it's so cute. Oh. Nurgling karaoke. I love it. Unreleased. It's for a Kickstarter. Ooh. Fancy. Look at you go, Bunker. That's heckin' impressive. Ah, okay. So we have here that finished Chaos Sorcerer. Like, that looks really good. Those yellows definitely really tie in very nicely with the rest of the model there. That looks phenomenally good. Oh. That was that. Oh, I thought that was her armories. It's not. No. Ooh. How did I miss this? Or did we show that off one of the previous streams? I don't remember. Either way, loving these. That's a really cool concept. Gives me vibes of the Flashpoint thing for Batman. I have the file, so when my friend is done with it and it goes live, I'll slide into yours or Ember's DMs. Ooh, thank you kindly. Thank you very kindly. But yeah, this gives me vibes of that Flashpoint story arc with where Bruce is the one that dies and it's Thomas Wayne who becomes Batman and Martha, who ends up as the Joker. Don't quite know why, it just reminds me of that. Love it. Not one for Space Wolves, as you know, but that's still a pretty damn good job there. Of course, my boy Araman. I love this. This is super cool. I kind of love the detail on the purity seal down there. You have come such a long way as a painter, Bunky. You should be so proud of yourself. Ooh, what's Mr. Fish been doing? Oh god, that was a while ago, wasn't it? Secondhand Rhino, 10 Plague Bears to the Kiddo's Army. Nice. Right, okay. I think that's pretty good going. Some heckin' talented stuff in the Discord, as always. Right, let's see who we can share the love to. Oh, we have chasers. Speaking of, Hut Armories is on, but we did actually raid them fairly recently. Ooh, Studio J7's on. Solway Studios. They've been going for about an hour and a half now, and they currently have the lowest viewers outside of... Oh, wait, no. Oh. Hang on a second. There's a whole load of people who've just popped up as being live. Too many sprues. There we go. 2.5 hours, so they might be finishing up soon. I don't know. Either way, we'll head over into their direction, I think. Oh, you're very welcome, Bunker. I say it because I mean it. Like, genuinely, you're a heckin' talented painter. Well done with all the stuff you've been getting on with. Right, big thank you to everyone who's joined me tonight. I know it's been a bit kind of impromptu, but also really successful, so yay. And we got quite a lot done. Like, considering this guy was just like bare plastic, not bare plastic, but primed plastic at the beginning of the night, and now he's almost finished. I feel pretty chuffed with myself for that. I'll be back again tomorrow night for Spooky Saturday, where we'll be playing some Sir, You Are Being Hunted. And I will see you all tomorrow. Bye!